I figured out this thing. I call it the Napa Latte. So here's what we do.
The Napa Latte.
Yeah, you're going to like this.
All right.
So if you're dragging ass, you've only got 4 hours, the night before, you got a big presentation, you're going to be on a podcast, you're going to do something cool and fun. You want to be able to be present and be able to be at your best. Here's what I want you to do. Take a cup of drip black coffee, no cream, no sugar, throw 3 ice cubes in it merely to cool it down, slug it as fast as you can, and then take a nap for 25 minutes. You burn through the adenosine, right? And since caffeine and adenosine are off by 1 molecule, caffeine fits into that place, blocks future adenosine for up to 4 hours.
So what does that mean?
That means you're wide awake and not dragging it for 4 hours.
Really?
Absolutely. I do it with athletes. I do it with CEOs all the time with my entrepreneur set. Don't do a Napa Latte every day, right? That's not what we're looking for.
Once a month if you didn't get a good night's sleep or something.
Right, exactly. But you can definitely use something like this to your advantage.
So give me an example. You're up all night ruminating, thinking, excited. Yep. You can't sleep. Maybe you only get a couple hours.
Yep.
And you got a game, you got an event, you got a speech, you got something the next day.
Right. I would say somewhere around 60 minutes before you're going to go on, right? Do this 25, take the coffee, cool it down, take the coffee, drink it.
Why not hot coffee?
Because you have to drink the whole thing fast.
Okay.
It's merely to cool it down.
You can't sip it for an hour. You have to drink it.
No, that's not the goal. The goal is to put it in and close your eyes.
And what if you can't sleep right away?
Doesn't matter. It still works, even if you never actually fall asleep. But be in a room that's quiet, that's dark. Give yourself a good opportunity to be able to do that, right?
And sleep for 25 minutes?
25 minutes. You don't want to go over that. You ever taken a nap and felt worse, not better?
Yeah.
That's because you sleep too long. This is a very subscribed nap. 25 minutes, right, with the caffeine in front of it. You'll be shocked at how well it works. That's sleep drive. All right. Now let's talk about sleep rhythm, because that was the question that you asked me. What is circadian rhythm? Why do we care? This whole cancer idea, what's happening there? So circadian rhythm is kind of my area of expertise. It's one of the areas that I really love, because within circadian rhythm are these things called chronotypes. Okay. So a circadian rhythm is a lot like hunger. You ever notice that you're hungry around breakfast time, around lunchtime, around dinner time? That's your circadian rhythm for hunger. For sleep, at least here in North America, most people are sleepy somewhere between 10 and 10:30. You go to Latin America where they take a siesta during the day.
They eat at 10:30.
I mean, these people are up,
That's
right?
crazy.
That's a whole different, ball game, and we can work with those people. But circadian rhythms are basically your brain is telling you when to go to bed. Melatonin is really the big factor on the circadian rhythm side. Melatonin is a sleep regulator, not a sleep initiator. Okay. Initiator would affect adenosine. Melatonin affects the circadian rhythm. So I had a patient who came in, and if I'm honest with you, dude, I failed. I failed with her. We were trying everything. She had terrible insomnia. I tried cognitive behavioral therapy, which is my drug of choice, if you will, for my patients. We tried medication. We tried sleep hygiene. We tried everything. When I have a patient that doesn't do well, I bring them in for free and I just assess. Because clearly I must have missed something that's going on here. About halfway through the interview, she turns to me, and this is when I was practicing on the East Coast. She said, Dr. Breus, she said, if I just lived in California, everything would be great. I'm like, explain that to me. She said, well, everything there is 3 hours later. She said, if I could just go to work a couple hours later and stay a couple hours, I think it'd be fantastic for me. I said, well, why can't you do that? She said, well, I don't think my boss would like it. My husband probably wouldn't like it. I take care of him and the kids, waking up in the morning, that kind of stuff. She said, and by the way, I'm not doing well at work. I'm on like probation, like my work product is down. I said, well, can I call your boss and ask him if you can come in 2 hours later? And she said, you can try. So I call up her boss. This was on a Monday, and I explained who I was and what I was doing, who I was working with. Of course, I got her permission in order to do all this. And he said, you want to do what? I said, I want her to come in 2 hours later. So in this particular job, she had to be there at 8 a.m., right? So I said, I want her to come in at 10, and I want her to leave at 6. I said, can we do that?
Is she leaving 2 hours later?
Yes.
Okay, so you're still the same work hours.
Same work hours, but we're just
starting 2 hours later.
Exactly. He said, Michael, you can try whatever you want. I'm firing her on Friday.
Wow.
I'm like, no pressure. Great.
Wow.
So we run the experiment.
Did you tell the patient this? Like, hey.
No. Because then she really wouldn't sleep.
Right.
Right, exactly. So I didn't tell her that part. So I call him back on Friday, and he picks up the phone. And you know what the first thing he says to me is? I got 3 more employees I want you to talk to.
Wow.
Okay. This is what's called a chronotype. It's genetic. You don't actually get to pick it, by the way. I got interviewed a couple weeks ago by the Wall Street Journal, and they said, what do you think of the 5 a.m. club? I said, I think it's the second stupidest idea I've ever heard other than mouth tape. Okay.
Okay. Tell me why.
Because 85% of the world can't wake up at 5 a.m., Lewis. 85%. They're going to fail no matter what, genetically speaking. I can actually look, if you had your genome sequenced, I could look at your 23andMe or your Ancestry.com. I can show you where it's an area called the PER3 area. I want to be clear, there's about 30 areas that control this, but PER3 is kind of the big one that we look at. And if you have something called a single nucleotide polymorphism, which is a SNP, which means that the building blocks, if they flip one way, you're an early bird. Now, you've heard of this term before. A lot of people out here have never heard of chronotypes, but they've definitely heard of early birds. If it's flipped another way, you're a night owl. If it's not flipped, you're what we used to call a hummingbird, okay? So I was looking at this system, and I said, now I've heard about this system. It was in school, I heard about it. Like it's kind of a well-known system. I said, but it doesn't encompass this woman I was talking with, because she also had kind of a strange system. Sometimes it'd be late, sometimes it'd be early. So it turns out that there's a fourth chronotype. Once again, this is genetic.
So this is not just some social construct of just saying, I'm a night owl, I'm an early bird, or so this is like, if someone's saying that, they're actually, it's their body saying it. It's not, it's not, they're just like, well, I just don't want to wake up early.
That's right. It is actually their body. Okay. Now I have always
and
been
you can test this.
Yeah.
Is this through blood work you're saying, or is this through?
I've got a quiz online that people can take, and look, 30 questions online. It doesn't take you but about 3 or 4 minutes. And it's not hard. Like, this isn't like some, oh my gosh, I've got to figure all this stuff out. Like, you can figure this out reasonably quickly. To be fair, I'm a mammal, not a bird. So I decided to rename the system. So early birds are now lions, because who wouldn't want to be the king or queen of the jungle, right? And lions are very interesting people. They make up about 15% of the population, right? And these are the early birds. So these are the people that wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. They're all chipper. I mean, honestly, the only thing I hate more than mornings are morning people, right? I mean, come on, they're just too into the morning scene for me, right? They exercise early. These are the people that'll make a list and go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 during the day. They have a very interesting personality kind of characteristic. Once again, only 15% of people do this. So they're great for the 5 a.m. club, but 85% of the rest of the freaking world is not going to do well at the 5 a.m. club. The next group, I call them bears. They're the ones in the middle. These are more solar sleepers. They go to bed around 10. They wake up around 7. And by the way, 50% of the population is a bear. And I got to be honest with you, dude, I wish I was a bear. Really? Life is built for the 9 to 5 schedule, works perfect for a bear, right? Absolutely perfect. And these people are a lot of fun. They're really good to work with. And you know, a lot of times it makes a lot of sense. We've had almost 3.5 million people take my quiz now. Wow. And so, yeah, it's amazing. And so what we've discovered is there are actually early birds, early bears, and later bears within that category, right? The next category I call wolves. These are the night owls. This is me. I've been a wolf my entire life. I'm the guy who, like, it was crazy. When I first went to college, I took, you know, the classic freshman 8 a.m.
It's the worst.
It's the worst, right? It's awful. Number one, I missed it half the time because I was asleep, right? Like, my body just doesn't work then. I was labeled lazy, right? I was told that I wasn't intelligent. I was told all of these different things. And if all I had done is just taken some of those classes later in the day, dude, I would have crushed it. Right? Now, what's interesting about my night owls is this is where my creatives are, my CEOs, right? These are my artists, my actors, my inventors. Because who gets an idea at 2 o'clock in the afternoon? Nobody. I get it at 2 a.m., right?
Why is that?
Well,
is there something around brain chemistry?
Yes.
Or like the ability to dream or to let go?
We can talk about dreams in a second. That's a slightly different category. But what's interesting is right after or right before REM sleep is when you turn out to be the most creative.
Interesting.
So far, I'll be honest with you. I haven't told you a whole lot you probably didn't already know. You knew about early birds. You knew about night owls. You figured there must be people in between, right? My real kind of the thing I'm most known for is the fourth category, which I call dolphins. Now, people always ask, Michael, why do you call them dolphins? So it turns out that dolphins sleep unihemispherically. So half of their brain is asleep while the other half is awake and looking for predators. And I thought,
they don't sleep, right? I mean, they're just swimming in a circle.
Exactly.
Like if you see it at the zoo or whatever, they're just like.
Exactly.
They're swimming 24/7.
Exactly. So half of their brain has to sleep while they're swimming, and then it rotates to the other half.
Crazy.
Right. That is my insomnia groups. That's what this woman was.
Wow.
She was a dolphin. And,
what percent is that?
It's about 10 to 15%, closer to 10.
And what are the
percent.
wolves?
The wolves are about 15%. So we've got 15% lions, we got about 55% bears, we got another 15% wolves, and about 10% are dolphins. And then some people can float around. Now, I want to be clear about something. The dolphin is interesting because sometimes it's not genetic for a dolphin. Sometimes it's circumstance, right? So if you're a woman and you're going through menopause, you're a dolphin, dude.
Yeah.
Because your hormones are all over the place. This is all based on your melatonin and your cortisol moving up and down. So this is how it works, is if you're a lion, your melatonin turns off at 4:30 in the morning, the cortisol comes up, and now you're awake. But if you're a wolf like me, my melatonin doesn't turn off until 7, like a full almost 90 minutes later. So here's where it gets in really cool. So my book is called The Power of When, as in when to do something. What I tell people is don't change your chronotype, embrace it. Change your activities to the time when your body will naturally have the hormones that you're looking for.
So how do you know, once you go through your quiz and you find out your chronotype,
Yep.
then you should know when to have sex?
100%.
So you can learn when to have sex based on your chronotype to have the best night's sleep?
Absolutely.
So when is that?
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So everybody always wants to know. So I'm going to give a general recommendation, and then I'm going to give some specific recommendations based on people's chronotypes, right? So in order to have sex successfully, you need 5 hormones to be elevated. You need estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, adrenaline, and cortisol all need to be high. And melatonin, the sleep hormone, needs to be low. So when we surveyed people, 75% of people have sex between 10:30 and 11:30 at night. What do you think their hormone profile looks like? It's the opposite. Melatonin is high, and all 5 of those things is low. So that's hint.
You need that to switch.
Exactly.
So you should be having morning sex, not night sex.
So you've already caught on. You're quick. You've already caught on, right? So then the second thing is, if you happen to be having sex with somebody who was born biologically male, what do most men wake up with in the morning? An erection. If that's not Mother Nature telling you when to use that thing, I don't know what is.
Again, if you're exhausted at night and you can't get an erection, why force it?
Exactly. It's not tonight I have a headache. It's not tonight I'm too fucking tired. Like, that's what's really going on here. So everybody here who's watching and listening has a prescription for with their partner to be able to, if you want to have sex, try it in the morning time. Go to the bathroom, throw in a little mouthwash first, right? Then hop back in bed. Here's what's interesting. We surveyed people when we asked them to do that. Men actually have better performance. They have better erections and they last longer. Women have better emotional connection, right? Now, here's the question that I get asked all the time. Michael, this all sounds great, but what if I'm a wolf and my wife's a lion? What do we do then? So in the book, I created a matrix.
Sure.
So I've got male on the one side and female on the other side. And then I also created one for gay and lesbian couples because the hormones are different, right? So we can figure this out, dude. It's not hard to do. I can tell people the best time to have sex, eat a cheeseburger, work out, drink caffeine, have alcohol. All of it runs on these circadian systems based on your chronotype. This is the biggest unlock that anybody could do.
Wow. Okay. So here's the thing. I feel like when I was growing up, I was more of a wolf.
This is such a great question. I know where you're going.
Right?
Yeah.
But then through social conditioning, through sports where we had to wake up at 5 a.m. for lifting, and I had to condition myself, essentially go against my nature or the way my brain was working at that season of life.
So
to try to fit in with, high school, college, then pro sports, then.
Yeah.
But then I flipped back to being a wolf when I was an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Because I was like, oh, I'm just up all night thinking, and now I can create and do, and there's everyone's asleep, so I can actually get some work done.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, well, 2 a.m. every night doesn't work also because now I'm gaining weight and I'm not, it's like my healthiest.
Yep.
So I feel like I've become more of a bear and probably more of an early bear now, just so I can get up and get my workouts in first. And now with twin daughters, I got to spend time with them in the morning. So it's like fitting things in the morning.
So it's called chrono longevity.
Okay.
So you go through all of the phases in your lifetime.
Yeah, and I'm sure I've been a dolphin in this season also.
So your daughters right now are lions. They go to bed early. They wake up early, right? Once they hit middle school, they're going to be bears. They're going to go to bed around 7:30. They're going to wake up around 7:30. Then adolescence hits. I don't know an adolescent who doesn't want to stay up until 2 and sleep until 12.
Yeah. That was me. That was
right?
me.
Me too, right? Then when you hit about 20 years old, it sets for about 30, 40 years.
Really?
Yeah. And then it starts to go backwards, right? So if your parents are still alive and you call them up and you said, hey, mom, I want to go out to dinner tonight, she would say, oh, great, I'll meet you at 5:30.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
My mom's taking a nap throughout the day multiple times.
Right, because, well, we should talk about that.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is your chronotype seems to go backwards. So it shifts throughout your lifetime based on stress, based on gender, based on women, if they're going through menopause. Men can go through something called andropause. So there's a whole host.
Maybe how much daylight you get during the day. All these
and I'm so glad you asked that, because that's such an important factor. Light turns out to be the biggest factor when it comes to sleep, in terms of allowing you to sleep, because melatonin cannot be produced in the presence of light.
Really?
Yeah, we call it the darkness hormone or the vampire hormone because it only comes out at night.
So your body won't create melatonin if the sun is out,
That's correct.
or if you see the sun.
Correct. Now, what happens with jet lag? People always ask me this, like, I'm on an airplane, Michael, and my body thinks it's this time, and that's why we get jet lag, is because of this mismatch between our brain and what's going on in our environment.
So how do you never get jet lag?
Believe it or not, there's an app for that.
I've seen that. Yeah,
It's called Time Shifter.
I've seen that.
Yep. So
Does it work?
Full disclosure, I'm both an investor and developer of Time Shifter.
okay.
All right. But I'm going to tell you something. The shit works.
It works.
It
Yeah.
works. So what we do is we give you a schedule. We know where. So about 15, 20 years ago, they discovered that if they put a specific frequency of light, blue light, in fact, in front of you for a certain period of time, we can shift your circadian rhythm by almost 8 hours. So it turns out jet lag is a math problem, right? So if I know where your circadian rhythm is, let's say you're in LA and you're going to Paris, right? Well, I know what time it is in LA, we know what time it is in Paris, and we know what time your flight is. All we have to do is time when we show you the light that squelches your melatonin, and then we give you a little bit of melatonin when you're supposed to be sleeping on Paris time. And if you can't quite wake up because your melatonin is still trying to come through, we give you a little caffeine, maybe even take a nap. And by the time you get to Paris, I have you on Paris time.
Come on.
Swear to God.
So is the app give you a blue light through the phone? Is that what it is? Or
It doesn't have, no, it doesn't. But what you do is you can bring a light with you, or you can turn a light on. You can use any light that you want.
really a blue light though?
Yeah. Yeah. Not blue the color. These lights have blue in the frequency.
I see what you're saying. Got you.
So blue light is a frequency between 460 and 480 nanometers.
And you just look at it.
Now you don't have to stick it here. Like you can have it here while you're eating breakfast or things like that. Like I have a lot of clients who live in New York City, right? And during the winter, like it's dark, right? Also, by the way, we just kind of flipped over to daylight saving time.
That messes you up too.
It's a terrible idea.
Why? I mean,
It's a terrible
It seems
idea.
like my whole last week was a mess because of this.
Yeah. And by the way, your daughters will actually be lagged behind.
Oh, they were.
I know.
That was rough.
It's awful, dude.
Because it was lighter later. They would go to bed, and I was like, and they were fussier for hours. I was
Yes.
like, why do they keep allowing daylight savings to happen?
They shouldn't. The American Academy of Sleep Medicine has been very clear on this. Standard time is where we should all be. The bottom line, people shouldn't wake up in the dark. Okay? Because melatonin still keeps going. So what you have to do is get one of these light boxes. You can buy them on Amazon for like $100. I travel with one all the time.
Really?
Yeah. I put it in my sleep kit. I create my own sleep kits when I travel.
So we shouldn't wake up during the dark.
Absolutely not. It's just your body wasn't designed to do that.
But there are lions that wake up in the dark, right?
They do. They do, because their melatonin turns off naturally.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm telling you something. This chronotype is an incredible unlock. I had one entrepreneur chronotype his entire company and then schedule meetings based on people's chronotypes.
Come on.
Think about it. If I know what time of day you're going to be focused and paying attention, you're going to be able to be present for the meeting. Like there's data to now show that an average employer loses approximately $3,200 per employee per year based on something called presenteeism, which means the body's there, but the brain ain't there. If you're trying to have creative meetings at 8 o'clock on Monday morning, and most of your creatives are wolves because that's the people who are the creatives,
Right.
Dude, you're never going to get anything done.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoy this and you want more inspirational content, make sure to click the subscribe button below and click right here to watch what's coming next.